All right, well, new video. One-piece floor going in. Let's get after it. So where I left it, I know I said it was all done and all this and that. We were gonna start right on the floor. Then I forgot I didn't get the two mounts out of the front, so I ground those off. I hadn't ground the tunnel, so I did that. So there was a few things I had to take care of. So, except mounts, they were right there. Right there. So I cleaned those off. I actually welded them. The strip I cut off, I just re-welded it for a little more strength. So that's dialed. Now the next thing I'm going to do, I got to prep the floor. So I'm going to drill some holes top and bottom on the rocker. So we're going to plug weld it. So we'll do one side, flip around, do the other. While it's on its side, I think I'm going to cut it right at this seam or whatever, this little brace. I gotta take two bolts out of the car yet. Run a piece of tape, and I'll just cut that, make sure I have lots of room so it'll overlap hopefully an inch or two, and then I'll finish, cut that, get it all fit. At the front, the original car was plug welded around here, which I may do, but the problem is I'm gonna end up seam welding because I don't have like the panel that's right here. The toe boards are non-existent, so I think I'm just gonna kind of clean up around there. I'll seam weld that the whole way across, much like what I'm going to do at the back. Seam weld that the whole way across, plug weld the rockers upper and lower, and that's it. I do have, somewhere, I have all the bolts and bushings, body bushings, so those will be important to find. And yeah, so I'll get set up. I got the steering box off, a few little things, but really, we'll be hanging this thing up. I'd like to try and get this in tonight. We'll see how motivated I am. It's already getting kind of late after I did all the other screwing around, and start welding it in tomorrow. But wish me luck. Subscribe to the channel. Let's get after it. So I got the floor dressed. I just gave it a buzz in the front. I drilled a bunch of holes. I assume I'm going to weld it inside out. I guess it doesn't really matter. And on the underside, I want to do it from the underneath to the outside. I think it'll look nicer. At the back, I just kind of cut it real meh, and I just kind of dressed it with the grinder so it wasn't as sharp. But again, that's going to have to be trimmed to fit. Up front, I didn't do a whole lot. There's two bolts holding the thing down. So what I did before, on the last thing, I left the two bolts at the back, which I'm going to leave that there. So that way that the body can't twist side to side too much. We're going to hook up some chain to the front to these mounts. We're going to lift the body up. We're going to slide the floor in. Now I took the steering box and everything right out of this one. This is a nightmare. These old Tri-5s are like old school, so it's just that rod is right into the steering box. So when you get in a front end collision, you die. It'll stab you. Anyway, so we'll lift it up. We'll jam the floor in kind of where it should be. And then when we put it down, those front two mounts will realign. And that to me means the body will be squared on the floor. And then the floor will be in there. It'll have a little bit of room to float. Like not much, maybe a half an inch or a quarter inch side to side or back and forth, depending on what I gotta do. And then I'll actually bolt the floor down to the car. Then I'll clamp it to the rest and kind of have it all taken care of. But first thing we gotta do, we gotta get the engine crane out, get the floor kind of resting where I want. I'm hoping it's kind of cold out tonight. It's getting late already. I'm hoping I can lift it up real easy, just slide her in and call it for the night and leave on a little victory without smashing any glass, without having the car fold in half. I'm gonna make sure all the doors are shut while I do that. Again, they still close just fine. Have as much strength in this thing as I can. I also was thinking of doing is jacking it up and just dropping it almost like right down the ground. So like the frame would almost be tilted downward. So the body wouldn't have to come up as much to kind of slide in because the frame kicks up. Those are my thoughts. We'll see what happens. All right, well, I guess I'll get set up and we'll turn on the camera and hope for the best. So we've run into our first snafu. And it's a biggie. So everything is disconnected. We got the engine crane hooked up. We got it to the body. Started giving her a few pumps. This thing is so stiff at the back. So it's got a trailer hitch welded in, which goes across the frame rails, which goes through the body, and it's it was a bit of a hack job, but I love it, and I want to cut it out. Anyways, the problem is, all the way at the back, it's holding it. So see, you can push the frame down, but it wants to come right back. So, I need a way to like ratchet the body down to something. I wonder if I can ratchet it down to the crane. What will that do? It'll try and pull the crane up. Let's try to pull. But it's got the weight of the car on it. Huh. I'm gonna get a ratchet strap. We'll try this out and see what happens. This is not how they say to do it in the instructions. Well, there was no instructions. The amount of times in my life I've trusted my life to a made in China engine crane is kind of too many. This is where I wish I knew more about physics and less about safety. Oh yeah. Oh, I may have boned it with this strap. Need a second one. She'll work though. Alright, well, we'll wrestle the floor around and see what happens. Okay, so we got the chassis strapped to the crane. The jack stands are there, but they're just kind of for show right now. So we're going to try and just keep our fingers away from the pinch zone. I got the floor half rassled out. I got my first aider, who's also going to hold the camera. And if she goes sideways, we'll be fine. This is definitely a lot sketchier than the sedan floor.
You know what's funny about this? Everybody has been commenting like, "Oh, I never thought I'd do my floors that way. That looks so easy. That's way easier." Blah blah blah. This is why people don't do it this way.
You know, the other one, like the shocks are still hooked up, but this thing has a big trailer hitch, and it's just a different setup. And I'm lazy, so I'm gonna see if I can.
Can I put a disclaimer in this saying I do not like this?
She's a little taut.
Wait, before you start, have you changed all your insurance papers and everything?
Insurance?
Like, am I good? Am I covered?
Canada, everybody's insured.
Mom and Dad will take care of me.
Murder insures against stupidity. Figured out this time.
Did you get new garage lights?
No. These lights are driving me nuts though.
They keep flickering.
Huh?
They keep flickering.
Well, that one's
I've never seen those lights before in my life.
Had them for a while. Oh.
Oh, you're gonna need to do like a uncomfortable sound disclaimer on this. What's the problem?
Huh?
What's the problem?
Nothing. Everything's going,
Don't say according to plan. We all know you're lying.
When there is no plan, it goes according to the plan. I think it's all until the door still open? Oh yeah. Actually went in too easy.
I feel like you guys should all see the text that was sent to me mere moments before I came out here. It says, I'm a little worried. This is gonna go bad. Can you come out in case this goes sideways? I didn't actually know what he was talking about. But hey, we're all still alive.
I just didn't want it to... I don't think it would kill me.
Well, you would have been stuck in here because you fluked
Yeah.
out that I even looked at my phone. And I was watching Witcher, which means I was watching Henry Cavill. And we all know what that does to me. The world doesn't exist anymore. Do the noises make you stronger when you go, whoa?
Makes me feel better.
It was like it was always there.
Ratty cars.
What are you doing?
I'm gonna lift the back end of it up. So we'll put it on top of the floor. I screwed that up last time. It was a nightmare. Get it all switched around. See if I can just prop it up with the floor jack. One side's happy. I don't know if that fit it or not. Nailed it. Body bolts. I'm leaving it there for a night.
That's probably wise. Let us not test fate.
That was a win. Almost all the way in. Oh, look how good everything fits. Just gotta get a pry bar in there. Got a light. Like, check that out. So it's overlapping. It has to go back, whatever, 2 finger lengths. But it's gonna line up perfect. So I just gotta put a pry bar in there and scoot it back. I have to probably start cutting some of this out. Take all my bracing out now. You know, it's a lot of work, but it's like you put it in and it's instantly done. Look how perfect. There's matching and everything. It's awesome. See you guys tomorrow. Next day, floor install. So we got the sucker up on stands. Now I learned a lesson on the last floor I did. Not the end of the world, but the last floor I did, I actually bolted the floor to the chassis and then I kind of put the body around it. So the floor was, I want to say crooked, but it just wasn't as good as it could have been. And the reasoning for that was I did the same thing. It's overlapping on top of this back steel yet, which gives it a slight rake. So the front of the floor, kind of hard to show, but it does fit quite well, where the back didn't. And I had it kind of bolted down, then I cut it in and all that. But you got so many braces holding it, it didn't fall into place quite as much. So I was pushing it down with the hammer, but I think I just kind of, like, this part of the floor stayed kind of high and it bent down, you know what I mean? So it's fine, it's strong and all that. And you gotta see, we gotta drop, you know, whatever that is, 1/2 inch to be in the right spot. Oh, you know what showed up in the mail today? A day late, $1 short. That would've been handy the other day, eh? Anyways, so what I'm gonna do, we've got the floor set in, so it's in line with the tunnel in the front, which is good. So I may just put a couple of tack bolts to hold it there. It's centered side to side. Underneath, I can show you, but all the bolt holes are all lined up in the front. So what I was gonna do is put the bushings in the front with some long bolts just to kind of hold it. I'm gonna cut across here before anything's really bolted in, again, just to hold it in the front and let it fall down where it should be. Then I can weld it in, or tack weld it, whatever it is, across the back, across the sills, and across the tunnel. That's all there is. So now the body's going to be dead level, and then what I'll do, without any real bushings in it, because I only have maybe a couple in there, or maybe none, and then I'll lift the thing again, which will be a little tricky. I'll have to strap it down, lift the body up again, and I can put all the bushings in, all the body mounts in, and then it sits down, it'll all be dead level, or true, whatever you want to call it. So that's what I think I'm going to do this time around. So I'll get chopping this back piece out. It's pretty simple. We're going to make it fit in there. And then I'm thinking once I get that little bit of tension, I'm going to take this bracing out too. It should fall into place. And we shouldn't really have any issues. And oh, it's so nice. I can't stress the new floor enough. I wish it went further in the firewall, to be honest with you. I wish it charged me an extra couple $100. I'd have to weld in panels. It's a lot of screwing around, but these full rockers and then the full floor with the inner rockers, it's just rust fixed. And I think I got enough. I might put a few more, drill a few holes in here, but I'm just going to plug weld it. I mean, it'll be plenty strong and just like factory. And I'll be putting that in at some point. The other one's still lost in translation. But yeah, I want to get all that done. And I was going to do it all on the suspension, but I think I'll just have to adjust the doors on the suspension, if that. Because it just fit in so good. Alright, Hot Rod 101, let's see what happens. Just want to give you a quick update of what I've accomplished. So, at the back, this, it all came back to me from when I did the last one. I had just, if you cut these little corners out, and I cut this little section over the hump, because the hump on the car is quite a bit tighter of a bend than it is on the stamping, so it wants to kind of be elevated. So I did that. The floor immediately fell down, and you can see like that the black is the floor and the other is the rocker, so we're golden. So I just clamped it, and it went pretty good. What I did to make the fitment perfect, I did well, 3 doors so far. I just took a 2x4, ran it under the rocker, and I just kind of gave it a few pumps, and that'll bring the body up again as the floor wants to go down. Now, because there's no bushings, the floor is sitting low. So what we're essentially doing by jacking up the rocker is kind of giving the illusion that there would be a bushing underneath there, right? So we got pretty close. This one just needs a couple of more pumps, and I'll smack it with the mallet. I'll vice grip it, and then I'll give her a few plug welds. As you can see, the tunnel is a pretty decent fit. Doors all still open and closed nicely. And in the back, I gotta do some trimming here. Unfortunately, the wheel tub was very rotted on this side, so I'll have to build a little piece. What are you gonna do? And I'll probably I'll slice this little section out or put a few tack welds in there. I don't know what I'm gonna do. The original floor goes all the way up to this little crease. So anywhere in here I'll cut across, take it out the bottom, weld it in, or at least tack it all together, and then yeah, I'll lift it up, put the bushings in, make sure the doors open and close one last time, and I don't know if I'll actually finish doing all the welding or stuff, because I still gotta do floor pans and all that. I'd like to make this thing a roller again, not gonna lie. So I think I might end the video with the floor just kind of tacked in and kind of ready to go, all the body bushings on, all bolted down, and then we'll move right on to the front end stuff, because I also have body or motor mounts, so I can set that up, trans mount. I gotta go look at the transmission yet, so that is dependent. And what else? Oh, I found a set of used headers, so I need to see if those will fit around the dreaded steering box. Those are my plans. I'll bring you back when it's all kind of situated. Alright, well, fast forward a bit. We got the crane out of the way. So I managed to get everything kind of plug welded in. So that's all fine. Now I skipped ahead. I did a video not too long ago about putting a full floor in a Tri-5 Chevy. I did it on a 56 sedan. So you can go back and watch that whole thing. I showed exactly how it was done. I kind of skipped ahead. Doing the same video twice, and that was probably like 6 weeks ago or 2 months ago. Seems kind of boring. I did put all the body bushings in, and it's bolted down. Now what I had to do is I ended up using like a ratchet strap to kind of pull the body this way and that way, whatever it is. Not much, just because the bowl holes weren't quite lined up, just like, you know, 1/8 or 1/4 of an inch. So we got that all dialed, and I thought, okay, basically done the floors, at least for now. I still gotta run across the back and tack weld it in. I gotta finish plugging it all, and I gotta do the across the front, but we'll do that later. But there's still a couple hours left for bedtime, so I thought I'd finish off the video by putting this in, if I can. It should be pretty simple. I'm just gonna blaze this the whole way across, chop that off, fit it over, and trim as needed. Should be pretty simple. I'm not gonna like metal finish it and body work it or nothing. Make it close, and then we'll see. Maybe up front here, see how fast that that dog leg goes. kind of put those in there. And just get the last bit of the rust out. Now this is this line where it kind of goes up. It's double wall. So I actually might just cut it. You guys like those Tri-5 doors? The floor actually fits on top of the cowl, so I'll probably just zip it up here on the floor side from the back side, or the motor side. Then I can grind down the top and get all the scale and whatnot off. Fit it in, I can clamp it to the bottom leading edge, decide how far up I want to go. And I'm hoping I'll just kind of keep it down here-ish. And give her a couple of zaps. Kind of go from there. So that's the plan for tonight and the rest of this video. Hopefully you guys are enjoying it. Suffer is real. Okay, well, fair bit of progress. I gotta say, this dog leg was complete dog shit of a panel. Now, I will give the guy credit. They didn't have dog legs for a wagon, so I got one for a sedan, but it wasn't even close. So it still needs a little bit of fitment, but I mean, it's tacked in there. I can burn it all in and kind of go from there. I'm running low on welding gas, so I didn't go too crazy on this because it's gonna need a lot of screwing around. So I got gas tomorrow. I did go ahead and put the front pan in, pretty much complete. So they start off obviously quite large. I trimmed her down. It actually fit pretty good. I just went up the tunnel across the top. Right there where the seam is, it'll just be seam sealed. I'm an idiot. Shocker. But I forgot to drill a few holes so I can plug weld it to the pan. So I'll do that tomorrow. And then, like, it's all sandwiched together, so I'll probably put a few buzzes up the side there. Seam seal will be good enough. I'm going to clean up just a little bit, I think, tonight. I hate welding, especially on the dash, and then just going in. So I'll let that, make sure there's no fires, and go from there. But I think the next time you see it, I'll probably just put the other pan in by myself. It's pretty simple. Put it in, trace it, cut it, buzz it in. Just that easy. Everything else we're just going to leave tacked in. And I think that's all the rusty metal will be out of it. Other than I got one more dog leg. Which I might as well just make myself at this point. Because this side wasn't actually even that bad. It just needed it, it needed this piece more than anything, which is a bummer. But so I'll definitely try and keep as much of that as I can, because the new pan's a piece of junk. I gotta go try and get some paint mixed up for that, just so I can paint the rockers. After I gotta do a little bit of body work, and I want to paint down there as well, where I put the new metal in. So I'll, said seam seal it, probably put a little bit of, you know, undercoating or something, and then just blast her in there, and it'll be what it's gonna be. But that's from Liam for tonight. Thank you very much for watching. I think the next thing we're gonna do is put the front end together. I think that'll be good. I have all the stuff ready. The control arms are all assembled. They're in the back of the car, so it's as simple as bolting it on. I gotta press a few bushings in, but really, slap that sucker back together, put her in, and then we can try and find a driveline for it. I got lots of welding to do and stuff like that, so I'm sure there'll be a lot of that in the next few videos. Just welding solid sucks. I hate doing it. So I think we can maybe put the front end on, do a little bit of welding. Put the motor in, do a little bit of welding. Do a little bit of welding, do a little bit of welding. But that's it. Leave a comment. Thanks for watching. See you guys in the next one.